Hi everybody, it's great to be back here again on Itamar. It is Friday and Shavuot is coming in tomorrow night. We have a beautiful holiday coming in. This is really fantastic. Of course, it's great to be back, and for me personally, my wife, we've turned to the land of Israel after we've spent it for a few weeks abroad on a beautiful speaking tour, meeting amazing people. And as a matter of fact, this lesson, one of our listeners, who is a dear friend of mine, he's a doctor and he's a rheumatologist, and his name is Mark Jaffe, and he's been on Itamar, and he's never been the same since he's been on Itamar. So, number one, he loves this place, and he was very helpful in the States to try to get us to know people out there in Florida. And I want to dedicate this class to my dear friend, Dr. Jaffe, and yes, I do hope that he will come back to Itamar soon again. And this, I think, will be a lesson not only on this week's, the holiday coming up, but also on the strengthening the land of Israel. I'll try to relate it to that as well. We'll see why. How do I relate this to strengthening the land of Israel and being in the land of Israel? But as we approach the holiday of Shavuot, we've been working so hard over today is the 48th day of counting, and tonight we're going to be counting, of course, the last counting, and then just approaching the holiday of Shavuot. So really, tomorrow night we're going to be sitting down together and studying Torah all night long. And this is what we wait for. We wait for all year long to receive Torah again. It's very important to understand that the holidays are just not a one-time thing that happened, and then we're just sort of remembering what happened then. But in Judaism, we really understand an important principle that our holidays are repetitions of those defining moments in history when we actually those things that took place are actually happening again now. And so it's not like a one-time defining moment. It's a constant repetition. Every year we're going through that cycle again of all the holidays. And when it gets to the holiday of receiving Torah, we are receiving Torah again. That spiritual light that came down on Sinai is coming down upon us again on this special night. So it is so important for us to be involved in learning Torah and going to the ritual bath before it, and the mikveh, purifying ourselves, and entering this holy day in the way that we say to Hashem, making ourselves a vessel, an empty vessel. Please allow the Torah to descend upon our souls, to enter our hearts, to fill up every one of our vridim, our veins, and little capillaries in our body. Should go into every part of our being, the Torah, because the Torah is our life. It's our life, the life force of the universe. God looked in the Torah when He created the world. The entire world is a reflection, of course, of the Torah and God's plan of the blueprint of the entire universe. So it's so important that we realize how important the Torah is. If it wasn't for the Torah study, the entire world would turn and become null and void. The Torah is our life. As we say, Ki heim chayenu, it is our life, ve'orech yemenu, and our length of days. And that is, again, happening just hours from now. We're just so close. We're how many hours away? Not many. I'm not counting. But in order to try to understand this, how important the Torah is, we just have to look at throughout history what happened to the Jewish people as a nation, and see how the nations of the world tried to prevent us from studying Torah. If you see what the nations, this evil force in the world, were against the Torah study, it just shows how important something is. When people are against something, usually it shows the importance of something. Now, I want to bring out a story from the Talmud, which I think really sums this up in a very, very concise manner, but it will really give us a reflection on this whole concept that we just spoke about. The Gemara talks about in the Talmud, in the Tractate of Brachot, page 61b. And what does the Gemara say? It brings a story where the time of the Romans, they did not allow the Jewish people to study Torah. Think about it. They didn't allow us to study Torah. Today, here we are. Thank God, back in the land of Israel, we have the ability to study Torah, and anywhere in the world, most places in the world, people can study Torah freely. But yes, the Romans, made a decree not to allow us to study Torah. And what happened? There's a great giant of all times. We know Rabbi Akiva. We just studied about Rabbi Akiva with his students that were killed during this time period. They died. There are different opinions how they were killed, but until the period of Lag BaOmer, we know that 24,000 students died. And the why, because they weren't respecting one another, different reasons are mentioned. But the same Rabbi Akiva gives us an amazing lesson of what Torah is all about. And of course, Rabbi Akiva is the giant of giants of Torah study. And Rabbi Akiva is sitting here during this period of time with the Romans not allowing the Jewish people to study Torah, and he's teaching Torah to the masses. Literally gathering huge congregations of people and teaching Torah. That's what he's doing. And then a person, a contemporary, comes to him, living in his time period. His name was Papus ben Yehuda. That was the name of this person. And he says to Rabbi Akiva, how could you not be afraid of gathering so many people to study Torah? Don't you know that there's a warrant out to arrest and kill anyone who studies Torah? How could you do this? It's in the masses, teaching the masses. And Rabbi Akiva says to him, I would like to give you a beautiful example of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And Rabbi Akiva tells a story about a fox that was standing along a river, and he's looking inside and he sees that the fish are trying to get away, and they're saying, what are you afraid of, fish in there? And the fish is saying to the fox, listen guy, we're afraid of these nets that the fishermen are putting out for us. We're trying to get away from them and avoid the nets. So the fox is saying, you know something, I have a better idea. Why don't you come out of your water, come live on the dry land with me, and we'll live in peace just as our forefathers lived together in peace. So the fish said to you, you're supposed to be the smartest of animals, fox, right? But you're the stupidest of animals. If we're going to be in our own area we live, we receive our vitality from the water, we're afraid. All the more so we have reason to be afraid when we're outside our place. That gives us our vitality. And of course, this was a story that Rabbi Akiva gave, and of course, let's try to analyze a little bit of what the story means. Number one, obviously, the fish living in the water, if you look about it, in a place of vitality, although there's dangers, but they can't survive anywhere else unless they're in the source, connected to the source of vitality. And that's the Jewish people. The Torah, the world cannot survive without Torah study. Torah was given as a whole to the Jewish nation, but the entire world is connected to the Torah of Israel. Because through the Torah, the entire world receives its vitality. And some people don't realize that. They're coming out there to try to destroy, to disconnect this connection with God and the Torah, which will bring destruction upon the entire world. But here again, the fish is saying to the fox, no, we're not coming out of there. Although there are dangers here, we're willing to deal with the dangers, but out there we have no chance of survival. When a person disconnects himself with Torah, that's it. The person completely wipes himself out. It's so painful. Today, we're living in a time period where people can so easily open a book, study Torah. There are so many books out there to buy in English. Everything has been translated, so even those who don't read Hebrew can buy in English. There are so many classes given all over the internet, and rabbis all over the place they can buy. They can go out there and literally buy any kind of translation of book. Art scrolls all over the place. And of course, they can get a teacher, a personal teacher. There's so many yeshivot. You can actually go and ask to get lessons. It's so easily today to learn. It's so easy to learn Torah today. And there is a huge, coming back now from America, there's a huge boom. A lot of people are studying Torah out there, yes. And it's absolutely painful. On the other hand, when you see a lot of Jews who have the ability to learn and study Torah, and they decided to disconnect from this, take themselves out of the water and disconnect. And that's, of course, that's a really destruction. That's sort of our person almost committing suicide. That's what it really is. Just like fish, taking a fish out of water, what happens to that? A fish dries up and dies. When a person doesn't connect himself and doesn't build a life of Torah, this person really, unfortunately, will live a life, but a life without vitality. A person's life is immersed in Torah study and immersed with holiness and fear of God. That's what the Torah is supposed to bring for us. But of course, this is not enough. And here I mentioned before, I'm going to talk about the land of Israel, and somehow I always do manage to bring things to the land of Israel. Outside of Israel is also a suicide for the Jewish people. It may sound a little bit exaggerated, but no, I want to explain what I'm trying to say. A fish living in water, because the water is the source of its vitality. A Jew living in the land of Israel, the land of Israel is the source of vitality for the Jewish people. And unfortunately, when we're not in the land, we're out some other place, there's no greater bitul Torah, nullification of Torah than that. There's no doubt about that. Rabbi Akiva lived in the land of Israel, with all the decrees of the Romans. Nothing is going to stop Rabbi Akiva from Torah study. He didn't decide to go away and go somewhere else and leave the land of Israel. He stayed steadfast in the land, and he dealt with the difficulties and the challenges, but to study Torah in the land of Israel. Because there's no Torah like the Torah of the land of Israel. The inspiration, divine inspiration we receive over here in the land of Israel when we study Torah is a direct line with Hashem. Outside is like a long distance phone call, outside there in Galut, in exile. And only in the land of Israel can we truly connect ourselves to the end with clarity to Hashem. I'm not saying that there's no Torah study in exile. Of course, we know in Babylon there was huge Torah centers, and the Talmud of Babylon was written in Babylon, entire Talmud, which we study today more than even the Jerusalem Talmud. But again, we can't forget this was a temporary existence for the nation of Israel. And what happened today, what's going on today in the world, people have built these huge homes for themselves in America, and America's been very good for the Jewish people. Many Jews are very successful financially. But of course, the time has come to realize that a Jew outside the land of Israel is like a fish out of water. He's disconnecting himself to his source of vitality. Because this Torah, of course, there are many people studying Torah, which is wonderful, maintaining a spiritual connection. But they can even much higher Torah level study if they were returned to the land. And that they're missing out. They're missing out on that. This is the deep message of what I think Rabbi Akiva is saying over here. I'm willing to stand in the land of Israel, to struggle with the Romans, to take a chance of even getting killed. That's what happens at the end. We all know the story of Rabbi Akiva, which I will finish in a minute. But to overcome any obstacle and to remain in the land and connected to vitality. Because this is the message I want to give for generations, Rabbi Akiva is saying. Look what kind of spiritual level he reached. So Rabbi Akiva, again, later on, is court. And he meets in prison Papos ben Yehuda. The two of them meet in prison. And Papos says to Rabbi Akiva, how fortunate you are, Rabbi Akiva, that you were caught over something like Torah. You were caught over Torah. And how fortunate you are. I was caught over something just mundane, something stupid. I was arrested. You were arrested because you wanted to prove how important it is, the vitality, not give up your connection to Torah and Hashem. And this amazing lesson, although Rabbi Akiva later on we know was taken out, and that same Gemara talks about how he was martyred, how he was murdered by the Romans in the most cruel way. And he left his voice. The last words he said was Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. As he was saying Echad, his soul left him. Because Rabbi Akiva's his whole purpose in this world was to bring Torah to the world, to teach Torah, to make sure that the house of Israel would be well established, the Torah would be built in the land of Israel. And in the land of Israel, let's not forget, Rabbi Akiva, of course, was so for the land. And his message, and Rabbi Akiva to this very day, his words stand with us, and entire oral traditions, of course, are based on Rabbi Akiva's teachings that he passed down. And this again is, I think, an important message for the holiday of Shavuot when we go study Torah, to realize that it is our vitality, it is our lifeline, it is our existence. Without it, we are nothing. Without it, we will vanish and disappear. This is what keeps us alive for eternity, is our Torah. And the world has to realize that the Torah is the source of vitality of the entire universe. And the Romans, they wanted to disconnect the Torah from the world, and they wanted to teach their doctrines of paganism and idolatry. Of course, they didn't succeed because the Torah is alive in Israel. We return to the land of Israel. They're way gone. Today we thrive in the land of Israel. We survive that. And anyone who understands and tries to really connect with God must do so, of course, by following and connecting itself to the nation of Israel, realizing that God sends down the lifeline through the nation of Israel for the entire world. Those who bless Israel, of course, will be blessed. And that we see today happening now. The world is taking two sides, and there are those who are standing with Israel, those who are going against Israel. And those who stand with Israel realize this important principle we just mentioned of how vitality to the entire world will come through Israel, by strengthening Israel. So when the Jewish people sit down and study Torah, they are actually putting a huge foundation in the entire world keeping the world up and sturdy and a nice place to live in for the entire universe. Well, it's been a pleasure being back, and we'll be in touch very, very soon again. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful holiday. Shalom, shalom.